Okay, so this video is going to quickly explain how long you should rest between sets. Sometimes I might write it down on a session plan, but that's probably not going to be there every single time. So this is going to be just a general overview for exactly how long you should rest between your sets. So the most simple way to do it is as long as it takes for you to feel ready to do your next set. So after you finish a set, you should feel some level of tiredness, fatigue, and be a bit out of breath generally after every single set. So you're going to need to recover that and kind of get back to normal breathing and not be kind of out of breath or kind of like feeling like you have too elevated of a heart rate. Because the aim is to be as recovered as possible before going into your next set. So making yourself as recovered as possible is going to mean that you can then train as hard as possible in the next set. Whereas if you just take a 30-second break, which you might do on some occasions, in special sets like cluster sets, you're not going to be as recovered and not going to be able to train as hard, which is not going to be beneficial for something like strength, if strength is the goal in that workout or with that exercise. So kind of research does suggest that it's like 3 to 5 minutes, could even be longer, is like the optimal time to rest. But a lot of people don't have that time. So around generally 2 to 3 minutes is probably enough. And that's for things like your heaviest exercises, things like your squats, deadlifts, cleans, bench press, where you're using a lot of muscle mass and training multiple joint angles. And it is like just really taxing in general. You're going to need a little bit longer to rest and recover than something like a bicep curl, calf raise, or lateral raise. Again, just because there's more muscle mass being trained, it puts more demand on the body overall and more demand on kind of your cardiovascular system to pump blood to those working muscles because they're bigger muscles and there's more muscles in use. So then the recovery takes longer, understandably. So yeah, 2 to 3 minutes generally for those kind of exercises, and then between 1 and 2 minutes can probably be enough for things like bicep curls, lateral raises, stuff like that, smaller exercise, isolation exercises. But again, you can rest longer on those if you need it. If you are like training absolute failure and you're absolutely dying, more rest is never really going to be a bad thing in terms of rest between sets. Just depends on time really, and I wouldn't go beyond 5 minutes unless you find that works well for you, and you have the time to do it. Excuse me, and you have the time to do it. Yeah, 2 to 3 minutes is good enough for the heaviest exercise you do. Between 1 and 2 for isolations. For unilateral exercises, though, you might have some different considerations because you might be doing an exercise that trains only one leg or one arm. Split squat, single arm tricep extensions, dumbbell rows. Dumbbell rows and split squats, especially here, you're probably going to need to take a break between the limbs, so between one side of the body and the other side, because they're demanding, they're taxing, and you might then suffer on the second arm or leg that you're doing. So take 30 seconds to a minute between the sides of your body. So your left leg first, take 30 seconds to a minute, then do the right side of your body, and then take a longer rest after that, again 2 to 3 minutes. And that works fine. That's generally pretty good. What you could also do is like use 3 to 4 minutes as your total rest time per set overall. And when you do your first set on, say, your left leg, you're then going to take 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes rest before you do the other side, the right leg. Do the right leg and then take another 90 seconds to 2 minutes before going back on the left leg. And you kind of cycle through it like that. I don't know if that's more time effective or not, but it could be. It could take a little bit longer. In my head, it seems like it would take a little bit longer, but you could play around with those different things and see what feels best for you. And another tip for doing unilateral exercises, a little bonus thing here, not really relevant to rest times, but start with the weaker side of the body first, because if you do the stronger side first and get 12 reps, and then do the weaker side after and don't get 12 reps, that's going to be pretty frustrating. It's not going to be anything inherently wrong with that, but it's going to be pretty frustrating. And equally, if you train in that body and not that side, the stronger side first, and not recovered well enough, that could then have a negative impact on the weaker side of the body as well. But yeah, that's all for rest times. If you have any questions, drop a comment, drop me a message.